Good morning, folks. It is deadly early here. It's 5:36, and I have about an hour before I have to get out of here to work. But I just wanted to talk about something this morning, if I may. We've been seeing this for a while now, okay? And we're probably going to see more of it with the whole Team USA thing happening. Because now Paige Bueckers, and I think it's Bueckers. I can't tell. Some people call her Beckers, some people call her Bueckers. The spelling to me looks like Bueckers, so I'm going to give that a go because I really want to say people's names properly. Okay. Uh, the whole thing about the discussion of why Paige Bueckers isn't as heralded as Caitlin Clark. Now, it's natural to compare players, okay? You know, Back in the day when I was watching the Celts, um, people would continually compare Bird and Magic, even though, quite frankly, Larry Bird was a small forward and Magic Johnson was a guard. But at any moment during the sport, right, you could see Larry Bird playing like a guard and Magic Johnson playing like a small forward. So it was a natural inclination. Well, the same natural inclination is in play because Paige Bueckers is a guard and Caitlin Clark is a guard. They were both the number one picks in their respective years. Okay. But I'd like to assist Sue Bird with something. Okay. And let me just say this. I like Sue Bird. I loved Sue Bird as a player. Um, that interview that she did with Caitlin Clark was brilliant. I mean, Sue Bird conducted a great interview with Caitlin Clark, and it was clear that they enjoyed speaking to each other. And so, let me just say something. I don't agree with everything Sue Bird says, and Sue Bird can get on my nerves, but people in my family can get on my nerves every now and then. That doesn't mean I hate them, okay? And this whole conversation that she continues to move toward where she just doesn't get it, why Paige Bueckers isn't as heralded as Caitlin Clark is absurd, okay? Or why the fanfare around Paige isn't as big as the fanfare around Caitlin. So I'd like to help her with that, okay? You will never create that buzz for Paige Bueckers. It's not created in a social media environment, okay? It's not created by a public relations firm. Caitlin Clark didn't get to the respect level that she has gotten to by anybody creating that for her. She created that for herself by being a generational player who revolutionized the college game. Okay. She is a girl who originally was considering going to Notre Dame and was actually committed to Notre Dame. But I have read numerous stories about Jan Jensen and Lisa Bluter saying that um, they were going to do everything in their power to lure Caitlin Clark to Iowa. Whatever it took, they were going to do it. And they saw an opportunity when Caitlin Clark never really talked about publicly being committed to Notre Dame, which indicated to them she may be not as on board as originally planned. And they snagged her. And nobody believed in Iowa, okay? As Caitlin Clark herself has said, nobody, we were from Iowa, nobody believed in us. We were the best number two team ever on the planet. And they were, okay? And that was because of Caitlin Clark's play. She elevated the play of every single player on that team. every single one. Okay. Um, and you have to look at it that way. You know, somebody said the other day they can't believe that Gabby Marshall was not drafted, but 0.9% of the players that play in college never see a professional basketball court. Okay. And a lot of what went on during her 4 years at Iowa was because of her guard play and the way she involved her teammates and the way they worked together as a team. But certainly, let me just say this to Sue Bird, okay? Uh, Paige Bueckers isn't as heralded as Caitlin Clark because she's not Caitlin Clark. She's not, okay? She is a fine guard, and I have absolutely no doubt that she will have a great career in the WNBA. But she is not now, and not ever, Caitlin Clark. She's not a generational player. She's a great guard. She is a great shooter, okay? And there's no question about that. And she herself has said that she has learned to defend by fouling people because that's what you can get away with in WNBA. That whole officiating discussion is a separate topic, okay? I can't even judge her defensive play right now. All right, but Sue Bird continues to say she doesn't understand it. Well, you know, I don't know what else to say to you except that Caitlin Clark broke every college record possible. And we're going to be looking at that another night this week, quite frankly. And she is not only heralded and respected for her play, but for who she is. And that is not anything that Caitlin Clark has put on a marketing project and planned for herself. It's just her personality. Okay. If anybody has seen the interview with David Letterman on My Next Guest, his series, if anybody has seen that Netflix interview, it was brilliant. And, you know, if you haven't seen it yet, I believe it's still up there. You should go see that. Okay. I originally wanted to download that because you can download off Netflix, but you cannot download that series. I've tried that. Okay. Um, it's simply as simple as that. There's no laboratory you can create the buzz for Paige Bueckers that exists around Caitlin Clark. Okay. Um, Now, with this Team USA thing and with Sue Bird being involved in this, you're probably going to see a little bit more of this. And just let it ride, folks. Okay. But the person who was even more irritating to me is Gino Auriemma. He has never been a favorite of mine. You know, it's like me living in Boston, and I never liked either Tom Brady or Bill Belichick. I just found them, you know, not the kind of people I respected for various reasons, which we won't go into here. But Gino Auriemma is a jerk. Okay, he's been a jerk for most of his basketball career. He says stuff that, you know, you wish somebody would put a sock in his mouth, quite frankly. You know, but his statement that Caitlin Clark's game couldn't translate to the pros, well, she took care of that by breaking 62 rookie records, including breaking the record for breaking records. Okay. So if I were Gino, I would walk around with a bag on my head. He's a person that irritates me. He irritates me way more than Sue Bird does. But that's the whole thing here, okay? Caitlin Clark is a personality who attracts people to her, all right? Um, she is a crossover athlete, okay? You know, she's not trying to become a professional golfer, but she has made it her mission to elevate women's sports, not just basketball, okay? And she does that by participating in the Annika every year, okay? She is a girl who came out of college with a $28 million Nike contract under her belt, okay? But she's also a girl who came out of college with a nonprofit and has been helping people across the Midwest for ever since she was in college, ever since she was a kid. All right, a person who knows how to give back to the community. She's approachable. She's likable in an interview. She doesn't take the bait from stupid sports interviewers who try to bait her all the time into saying something dumb. She is just that player, okay? And that is why there have been so many documentaries made about her and about what she has meant to the sport. I think to this day, some people still don't realize what she has meant to women's basketball. But the people who came before her, the Maya Moores, the Rebecca Lobos, all of those women, they get it, okay? So that is my spiel for this morning. I got to get ready for work in the next 15, 20 minutes. And I'm still, I'm still working on my espresso here. But I will be back later and we will be talking basketball. But I just wanted to get that off my chest because I know I'm going to be irritated with the lead up to this camp, which is, coming up, by the way. I believe it's the 12th to the 14th. But let's keep in mind, folks, that this is a camp and there will be more of these camps before the actual March tournament that happens in Puerto Rico. Now, the USA is already set for the FIBA Cup. They're already in there. This is not a tournament where they're competing to get into this tournament, but they are still going to participate in it. We'll be keeping an eye on that. We'll be keeping an eye on any announcements about what's going on with that. But let's remember that this is a tournament, okay? And, like we've said, people have been chosen and invited to Team USA camps before. Kelsey Mitchell is one of them, and she has participated for the U.S. several times, and several times she has not made the team. I mean, this is just the way it is, and it's not a reflection on anyone's talent level. It's a reflection on how you do within the process, okay? So let's see where this goes, but this is going to be fun because it'll be Caitlin Clark's first time back on the court since July of this year, and it's very exciting. And they're already talking about the March tournament, by the way. So I will be back later and I will keep you posted on what I can find out. I'm also going to check out what's going on with the CBA with the latest 40-day extension that takes them through January 9th. And I believe we'll get something done. Okay? So I will talk to you soon. You guys have a fantastic day.